Hello and welcome back to Dishonored. So we've got to get out of this little cell that we've been trapped in. I wonder how we're going to do that. Oh look, some loose wooden planks. Oh look, some loose bricks which we can carry and throw. Oh, this puzzle's a bit too lateral for my mind. There is also another way out of here as well, where we can use possession. Now bearing in mind that our inventory has been taken from us and we need to get it back. Well, we don't need to, but we can do if we want. In the meantime, all we have is powers that we have obtained and the heart. And of course, all of the powers aside Blink are optional. So the bricks are basically there for you to be able to escape if you haven't taken possession. If you've taken possession, like I have, you can possess this rat and go down through the pipe and outside that way. Should we do it? Why not? It's probably slightly more interesting. And pop down this pipe. Down here. And outside the cell. Now, what is interesting to bear in mind about this mission, it's very intense. There are plenty of DAUD's assassins who can do transversal, which is their version of Blink. They have ranged attacks and melee attacks. They're also pretty observant compared to the sort of basic guards. As well as that, there is plenty of hostile wildlife like these hagfish and some river crusts, which we will come upon later. And there are absolutely tons of weepers in the flooded district. The flooded district is not only a hideout for the assassins, but it's also where the plague victims have been ditched and where they turn into weepers. So it's a very dangerous area. And to be going on with, we can take an assassin's sword, which of course is slightly different to our own sword, but it works in the same way. Some food to replenish our health. CORVO'S bounty note. DAUD. Finding Corvo in possession of that mask could have been an elaborate frame job, but now the newly minted Lord Regent Havelock is announcing to all the city that he has proof linking Corvo to the masked felon. The bounty is 30,000 coins, but if Corvo truly is the masked felon and is responsible for all the things the wanted posters accuse him of, I expect the bounty to double. Because we have him alive, we should be able to barter for even more. Regarding Slackjaw, we watched him for a week, and when we were ready to make our move, he suddenly disappeared. Maybe he left the city. Rufio. Rufio! Okay, some potions and stuff. Bounty ledger. Excerpt from a bounty ledger. Kroonigan, eliminated. 1,500 coins paid. Sallard, location unknown. Elizabeth, abducted, delivered, 2,000 coins paid. Booth, eliminated. Payment refused. Employer, eliminated. Unknown masked man, revealed to be Corvo. Slackjaw, location unknown. Corvo in custody to be delivered, alive. I don't think so. Not if I have anything to do with it. Now, we see we have two objectives. We can get our gear back. That is optional. We don't need to do that, but I am going to do it. Because we need sleep darts and things like that, and also because where we get our gear back, or rather where DAUD threw it over the edge in the intro to this mission, there is something very, very cool and interesting which we would miss otherwise. Report to DAUD. This is the musical device that the Overseer had strapped to his chest. While it was functioning, we were unable to perform transversals or tetherings. I suggest we all get a good look at it. It's an Overseer's music box, which of course renders powers, void powers, unusable. And DAUD's version of Blink is called Transversal, and his assassins have it as well. I presume that he's been able to gift it to them somehow. But yeah, they're very tricky. So I'm gonna basically, since the Dunwall Tower mission, I've obviously started playing a bit more fast and loose. I've been missing runes and that type of stuff, and so I may well get spotted like I just have done here. Now, yeah, you see this guy's teleported behind me, so I don't have any sleep darts and I'm not killing anyone, so what I need to do is basically possess this guy. once I've possessed him, I can go out from behind him and stranglehold him like that. It's an enormous use of mana, but... Oh, there's someone else down there. And I really need a health potion. I'm assuming this person is going to come upwards. Yes, he is. And again, because I'm now in direct combat with this guy, aside from blinking behind him and trying to stranglehold him, I'm just going to have to possess him again. So this is why I need to be being a lot more careful than this. Avoiding combat with these guys altogether would be better, but I have no potions of any kind and I'm very low on health. There is an assassin down there now. Interesting. See you later, man. I'm not sure where all these guys came from. Maybe they just teleported in. Anyway, that was a bit shit, so I'm going to try and do better. And I'll have to pile bodies. Unconscious bodies. Luckily there's some stuff here to give me some health back. Much needed. And some coins. Okay, I also need to be remembering to drop quick saves. Because if that kind of thing happens again, then I may choose to undo it. I'm going to try not to save scum, though it sort of feels a bit cheap. And what's this? The Brigmore job. Rinaldo, do the job as you were told and do not question my planning again. Yes, the women who meet in the ruins of the Brigmore Manor possess abilities like our own, and they use poisons administered by DAUD. But just as you share my ability to blink across space through the transversal trick, you also inherit my resistance to some toxins. As I told you when you first joined us, it is another of my gifts that whoever serves me loyally shares in some of my power. This may or may not aid you against their poisons. The leader of the Brigmore witches must pay for her betrayal. If you succeed, your share will be enough to build a fine home in Serconus in your old age, assuming you live. DAUD. That, of course, sets up a lot of lore for the final area that we are going to go through in Dishonored. However, it's not in the main game, it is in the Brigmore Witches DLC, the second expansion where we play as DAUD. So that is going to be coming in the future. That looks pretty badass. And that is the Greaves Lightning Whale Oil Factory where we need to go to get our gear back. But yeah, this mission in general, all the way through, gives us a lot of setup for the expansions where we control DAUD. And while it is possible to completely ignore DAUD and just spare his life by never going anywhere near him in this mission, I'm going to go and see him because, for the sake of continuity, we will see that encounter from the other side when we play as DAUD in the Knife of Dunwall and the Brigmore Witches, so I'm going to do that. To your gear. Okay, I could really do with some mana. There are a lot of hagfish in this water, and it's very convenient to be able to possess one of them and just move through the water that way. As it stands, I'm going to have to blink or stay above ground in order that I can replenish mana in between blinking. See, there are hagfish everywhere. There are also, just over here, river crusts, and they are extremely dangerous. They do a lot of damage, and I don't have a lot of health. So, I need to try and stick around the edge of this. Then, over on the other side of them, we will find some weepers. And it's probably going to be useful just to avoid the weepers altogether. What's up here? Hopefully not assassins. Oh, there is a dead overseer. 2 dead overseers. And then you've got grenade, crossbow bolts. All stuff that's not especially useful because, yeah, non-lethal. It's kind of hard to use a grenade non-lethally. And there's a bullet there. Pistol with a bullet, but we don't need that. Let's see. There is a bone charm in a building just around where the Weepers are. I don't know if I want to get it just because it's risky. What with there being so many Weepers there. Yeah, these river crusts, again, are very tricky customers. I'll try and get around them. Ow. Man, this is bad. Let's see. Ooh, yes. Very nice. Sure. That, thank you. Okay. I don't have enough mana to bend time, which would be the easiest way to get around these river crusts, but I also can't jump out of this water, which is pretty bad. Excuse me. Oh, there's hagfish as well. Oh, shit. Shitting shit. Get over the top. Jesus. Right. Dark vision may be very useful here because there are Weepers. Now, let's see, there's some over there. Tivian ore. Okay. Are you alive? No, you are not. There is a Weeper. Right, let's see. Should I get the bone charm or shouldn't I? I could blink up there, could I? It would be nice if I could blink anywhere, actually. Could try going over these lampposts. Why can't I go there? Alright, you know what? I'm not going to get that bone charm. I don't need it. It would just be pointless risk at this juncture. There's another one here. Two more, in fact. Prickly. Oh dear. And there's one right there. That's very bad. Very bad indeed. Can you blink behind her? Hup. Yes, perfect. See you, love. Delicious food. An explosive bottle, which we don't want because it will kill them. I feel like being a Weeper is punishment enough. Could really do with the spiritual elixir here. Perth pocket watch. Bernie, I think I have what you're looking for. A railcar containing blueprints for an advanced ammo type that was lost in the flooded district. The fools who designed it thought it so valuable that they sent the only copy along the elevated lines running through that abandoned place. It never reached its destination. I suggest you start your search at Rudshaw Central Rail Station. Be bloody careful. Rumour has it that the Whaler Gang has their territory somewhere in that area. If you see any sign of them, run like mad. Tusky. Okay. So that's a clue to, of course, a blueprint that can be found in this map, but if it's an ammo type, it's not useful to us in this playthrough. So if I come across the rail station, I might have a look for it, otherwise I ain't bothered. And there is a Weeper going that way. Okay. Yup. Might as well neutralise this guy. Just to be safe. And there's some more food here as well, which is convenient. Okay. I guess we can now move on to the next map where our gear is located. A prostitute's corpse. How lovely. And notice that this guy is a guard who has been turned into a weeper. So obviously the guard has caught the plague and has been exiled to the flooded district, where he has eventually turned into a weeper. That's basically the situation with the plague in this city, and of course it is, as we now know, the fault of Hiram Burrows, who we have neutralised. So, there are more weepers in this area, and I believe there are going to be assassins as well. Let's see what we can see. Okay, there's weepers there. That's our destination. The tower there where the whale oil is made in the refinery. We can probably just ignore all of these weepers. I'm not sure if those guys are weepers or if they're just survivors, but she is definitely a weeper. I'm not seeing anything collectible that's especially worth going down there for, so I'm going to just pop over the top, I think. Still could really do with some spiritual elixirs. Okay, so this scaffold on the side of the building is going to be the way that we get up. Greaves lightning... Oh, shit. Well, that wasn't very good, was it? Okay, that was a practice run. The autosave should take us back to the beginning of this map. Oh no, it's right here, when I changed to the refinery area. Now, as we saw just then when I fell to my doom, there are river crusts down there. And they are not to be trifled with, so I'm going to stick to higher ground. If I see a spiritual elixir down below anywhere, I will probably go and get it, but aside from that, we will stay put on the rooftops. Like the stealth master that we are. Okay, up there, so we need to, by the looks of it, be getting to this platform. I'm hoping that Blink 2 is going to have the range. There we go. Perfection. And same again onto this pipe. Oh dear. Okay, this area appears to be some sort of a Blink obstacle course, and so I need to be a little more careful with my jumps. The good thing about Blink, of course, is that when it blinks to the arrow prompt, where you vault up onto an edge at the end of Blink, you are guaranteed to be safely on your feet at the end of the teleport. So that is going to be the strategy that I'm using to get up this tower, because jumping is not doing me any good at all. There we go. And once again onto the pipe. And I'm going to blink around the edge of that. There we go. Now, if memory serves, there is a rune or a bone charm right near me. There it is. So it should just be... There we go. Under there. Acrobat. You climb slightly faster. We could use that, but is it worth unequipping anything for it? Let's have a look. Regenerate mana. Potions give you more mana. Strong arms, choking us faster, that's really useful. Carrying bodies is faster. Power's improved. Breath capacity and water increased. We could probably get rid of that. Yeah, let's get rid of good lungs. good lungs. And go for acrobat. I feel like we're going to be climbing more often than we are going to be spending a long time underwater, shall we say. And we do have the swim speed bone charm still on. There is a rune down there, but that's probably down near the river crusts, and I don't really need any more runes. So, there are some assassins on top of this tower. I believe 2 or 3 of them, and they're very tricky customers, so I'm going to be hoping for the best with this one. I'm going to try and take my time as well and just pick them off one by one. But let's hope we can sort this out.
Why would he come back here?
Hard to say, but we should watch the streets. We'll see him from the rooftops.
All right. If nothing else, we can cut him off at the market.
We can't get through the rail station without the key.
This one is resourceful. He'll find a way.
Okie dokie, so we have a mission clue from that conversation. The way to DAUD's base is through the central Rudshaw rail station. The door to the station is kept locked. Interesting. I don't actually remember that section of this mission too well, so that may be embarrassing for me. Anyway, dark vision is necessary here because it looks like there are 3 assassins. And once again, I'm just going to drop a quick save because anything could happen when I get up here. Where are these buggers? Have they all teleported far away? It's too quiet. Well, anyway, there's tons of loot here, so I'm going to start pillaging stuff, and hopefully I won't get seen. Okie doke. These lore books are too long for me to be able to read, really. The Drunken Whaler song, just in case you need the lyrics so you can sing along at home. Gonna keep dark vision on just because those assassins could be anywhere. Right, this drawbridge needs to be lowered. We need to get down below in order to get to our possessions. That's where DAUD threw them off the edge. But this needs power. It needs a whale oil tank. Refinery foreman's note. Tell your shift captain to assign a maintenance Burke for every shift. Burke? I wonder if that means Berkshire Hunt, which is rhyming slang for cunt in English. The conduits keep shorting out up here. At least authorise us to put a whale oil canister in the backup receptacle next to the bridge to keep the power flow steady. We're Greaves Company for crying out loud. You'd think we'd be able to afford an extra one of our own oil tanks. Or if you need me to make it simple for you, with no power, the bridge stays up. If the bridge stays up, we can't access the refinery pit. No pit access, we don't do our jobs. Plain and simple. In case I needed this spelled out for me, there is an empty whale oil power station here and a drawbridge control which doesn't work. Over here is a whale oil recharging station where we need an empty whale oil tank. And what's this? Some empty whale oil tanks behind a fence which we cannot get through. An assassin's mask there, very nice. And look, some loose wooden planks. Make sure no one heard that. Well, that was a difficult puzzle. Anyway, it's still better than no puzzle, I guess. Got that extra coin. See if I can get it. There we go. And now we grab a canister, stick it in the refilling station, refill it with delicious whale oil, take it round here to the drawbridge control, powered. There we go. Sorted. I'm still very concerned about those 3 assassins that were up here. I feel like they may have moved elsewhere in this map in between me and the entrance to DAUD's base. But I guess we'll find out what happens as we go over there shortly. That looks great, doesn't it? That, like, hillside with the buildings on top. Again, the influence of cities like Edinburgh in Scotland is very, very prominent here. Edinburgh is very like that. It has, like, steep cliffs with these kind of 18th and 19th century architectural buildings on top. Edinburgh Castle, like, is on a cliff which towers over the whole city. And it has these really steep terraced streets that go up and down hill with smoking chimneys. It's a beautiful city if you ever get the opportunity to go to the UK, or if you live in the UK and haven't been to Edinburgh, make sure that you go. It's probably my favourite city in the UK. Absolutely stunning place. Anyway, down the bottom of here is our gear. There are some weepers on the way down, so I've dropped a quick save just in case I get spotted by any of them. Yeah. Just make sure we can see. Yeah, there's two there. Need to make sure that we can see them before they see us. Obviously, drop assassinations would be very, very useful indeed here, but we aren't doing that. We have to wait till Dishonored 2 in order to have non-lethal drop assassinations. Amazingly, that guy didn't see me do that, which is pretty awesome. If I can blink behind him. Perfectamundo. I feel like there may be a third one. Oops. That wasn't dark vision. Yeah, I'm going to put dark vision back on just because I feel like there's a third weeper somewhere around here. Just to be safe. I'm going to creep down here nice and slow. Yoink. Whale Vivisection. Excerpt from the notes of a natural philosopher aboard a whaling ship. Remarkably, each specimen I had the pleasure of studying during the voyage possessed some minor variance in physiology. On the second leg of the trip, east of Tivia, the crew hauled aboard a female some 42 feet in length. I estimate she weighed 35 tons, and the ship sat low, rocking side to side through the night with her thrashing. By candlelight, I took her apart, sketching and taking notes. Against her bellowing, I cut into the mass of tentacles around her mouth. Within, I found row upon row of teeth, and a baleen running along the upper jaw. Through this broom-like structure, I assume she filtered food from the water that was too small to be chewed. That could well be the writings of Sokolov, because we do know that he went on a whaling ship on a mission to the Pandician continent. So that could have been from his mission. Excerpt from the founder of the Greaves Whale House by Ebenezer Greaves. Out at sea, they secure the beast with hooks with lines cast from the main ship and from several smaller boats. Buoys keep the whale from diving deep. Once it's caught, a larger hook is driven through the tail, which is used to hoist the creature up through the chute. They moan and bellow for some time as the men get them onto the deck, then lift them into the scaffolding overhead. The ship adjusts its prow and returns to port in Dunwall, where the crew works on the great creature, slicing off the fattiest parts while it still lives. Delicious. Now we're going to find out more about that disgusting whaling processing process in the Knife of Dunwall DLC, which we will get to after this. Notice there's a weeper there. I think I saw another one as well, but it might just be the one. Just the one there, okay. My gear is right there on the floor, so I could run for it, which would get me a sleep dart, and then I could take this guy out by dart. Yoink. That red coat looks somewhat familiar, does it not? Now, this guy is just called Weeper, but if we turn his body over we can see it's Thaddeus Campbell, High Overseer Campbell from the first assassination mission in the game. Branded, of course, by the Heretic's brand, which we inflicted upon him. Because he was branded and exiled from the Overseers, he became basically like homeless or a vagrant and ended up catching the plague and being exiled here to the flooded district, where he eventually became a Weeper. So that is a really nice touch, sort of letting us see his fate, because of course he was one of the two people who dishonored us at the beginning of the game. So that's really a really nice touch, and that's why it's extra worth going back for your equipment in this mission. Campbell's Curse. Curse that fool Hiram Burrows, Lord Regent my lily-white bottom. We almost had it all. Now I will wear the Heretic's brand for the short remainder of my days. The Heretic's brand of all things. I should have banned the ritual, but in truth I plan to use it against a few undesirables should the need arise, perhaps even Hiram. Now it's all lost. When I spy my own reflection in a puddle of filthy water, I see failure burned into my face. I am cast out, and now the plague is upon me. Already the fever grows, and my thoughts are as slippery as hagfish. It won't be long before I'm drooling and moaning and bleeding from the eyes. Last week I was sipping fine Tyvian wines and enjoying the comforts rightfully afforded to my position within the abbey. Today I sleep in filth, lost in this bleak and destroyed district. If my mind is going to rot away, then let these be my last words, the final coherent thoughts of Thaddeus Campbell, a great man, a voracious lover of life in all its flavours and odours, and once High Overseer in the great capital city of Dunwall itself. From the blackness of the void, I fling curses upon the head of Corvo. It was he who cost me everything I held dear. May flies nest in your eyes, Corvo, and may all your desires come to ruin, as you have ruined mine. Thaddeus Campbell. Well, unfortunately, Thaddeus, you're a cunt, and so you deserve everything you've got. I, however, am going to continue to live for some time, and finally a spiritual remedy. Oh no, but we don't need any now, because we picked up all of our stuff, so we have all of our gear back. I can, however, use one and then pick it up. Classic strat. Okay. That was awesome. I really like that touch, being able to see the fate of... again, it's kind of one of those things that brings into question the sort of horrors of the non-lethal options in this game. Okay, there are some river crusts there. Where was that rune? Just down there. I suppose I could risk going for it. I now have so many health potions, yoink, that it doesn't matter if I get wailed upon slightly by these river crusts. Oh! I'm being fired upon. Okay. Sweet. Right, so I'm just going to make my way over to the entrance to DAUD's base. And we will see... We'll make our way into the next area of this mission, and one step closer to confronting DAUD, the killer of the Empress. Again, I'm not so into dealing with those weepers when I don't need to. And we can see more dead overseers over here, and one of them appears to have left us a note, which is very kind of him. Anything in this dumpster? Nope. Alright. Moving swiftly on. Overseer's warning. The assassins sprung their trap as we tried to cross the narrow bridge. At that choke point, they were able to pick us off one by one. We thought we could draw them inside where our greater numbers could make more of a difference, but it didn't matter. Now I'm the only one left alive, and I feel that slipping from me minute by minute. Please, if a second group attempts to come through this way, beware of that bridge. They are listening for the sound of the door opening. Keep an eye on the rooftops. Even a small number of them is more than a match. Thank you, Mr. Overseer. That's going to be very useful to me. And we know that there is a health potion there which we can go back for if we do need to stock up later in the mission. Yoink. Okay, to DAUD's base. Go to the Rudshaw Waterfront upper level. Huh? That guy's just having a little boogie, in spite of being dead. Okay. Right, anyway, I'm going to end this episode here. Next time we'll go after DAUD. Thank you very much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment, as that does really help me. And I will see you in the next one for more Dishonored. Take care, and goodbye.